Hello, good evening everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back and I hope you guys are doing wonderful out there today. In this video, we're going to talk about the Optimus Polaris. Now in the past, I did a maintenance video where I was cleaning the stove and getting it running. The audio was off on that video, so I always wanted to redo that video. That video was also in 1080. So this video is going to be in 4K and it's going to have a lot better information for you. So I hope you enjoy this video. I've got a stove that I have got gummed up. It's not even running. I ran turpentine in it on purpose just so I could clean it for you guys in this video here today. So let's get started. Let's dive into this stove. Okay, let me go ahead and show you how gummed up this stove is. I'm going to turn this valve off. I have a very good fuel canister here. This canister is full, so I'm going to plug it in. And when I turn the valve on and I hold a flame there, I get nothing out of the stove. So the fact that this is gummed up, it's going to be a perfect thing for you guys to see in this video. This thing is really, really gummed up. So let me go ahead and disconnect the isopro fuel canister. I'm going to be using this tool for the video. Now, in the event that I can't get the shaker needle out, I might need these needle nose. I'm also going to be using a flashlight. We're going to start by taking off this nut right here. This is the nut that is going to take the fuel line off. So on the tool, we're going to use this top portion and we're going to take that nut off. We're just going to get the tool right there, give it a little turn, and it's very easy to get this off. It's a flared fitting. And there you have it. Now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take this tool right here and we're going to take out this stem, this flame adjuster stem right there. We're going to loosen that little nut as we turn this counterclockwise and we're going to pull this whole stem out. We're going to take a look. Things actually look fairly clean there. Got a little bit of dirt in it, but not as dirty as I thought it would be. If you look really close at this, you'll notice that there's a flat edge right here. See that flat edge? So what we can do is we can take the screwdriver portion of the tool and we can scrape any carbon that might be on this flat edge. And then when you flip the tool, when you flip this valve around to the other side, it's got another flat side. So we're just going to use the tool and make sure that those flat edges are clean. There's no carbon buildup on those edges. So we've done a good job on that. What we want to do now is we want to make sure that this fuel line is clear, that I'm actually getting fuel through this line to the other end. So to do that, I'm going to take my little bottle here and I'm going to put some gasoline in it and then I'll pressurize it and we'll use that pressure to make sure that we are getting fuel through that fuel line. So here we're going to just take some low octane gasoline. We'll put the pump in. If you have a little filter right here on your pump, there's usually a little filter. I've taken mine out, but it's right there in that little piece there. Check that if you haven't taken yours out, because sometimes those little filters will get gummed up. So we're going to thread this onto the bottle here. Make sure this valve is off and we'll pump this up a little bit. There we go. Now we're fully pumped up. So at this point, let's go ahead and thread this on. to the pump, and I've got my little jar here. I'm going to hold the fuel line over this jar, and I'm going to open this valve and see, look at that, we got plenty of fuel coming through. So we know that this fuel line is clear. We don't have any problems there. So that's good. We know that that portion of the stove works just fine. So let's take this little bit of gas and we'll set it there because we're going to need that in a minute. Now we're going to take the stove and we're going to look at the bottom of the stove, and we're going to take this little nut off. So we'll use, I think it's one of these sides here. We're going to take this off. There's a little nut. There we go. So we'll take that little guy out, set that in there to clean, and now we want to take the burner head, the burner bell, everything out of the stove body. So you can see that the stove body is just filthy. It is really dirty. Now some of you guys, this portion, the burner bell, might not come off on your stove. It might stay on there, but if you can take it off, great. If not, that's fine too. So we've got like lots of buildup and stuff. It's really, really dirty. But that's not really the main concern right now. The main concern that I'm looking for is the jet and the shaker needle. So we're going to use the flat end of our tool here. We'll take this jet out. Just like this. Come on. And the jet came right out, and it's clogged up pretty good. So we'll use our flashlight and we'll look through and see if we can see light through the jet, which I can't. Let's go to a low setting here. I can't see any light through the jet. It's completely gummed up. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. That jet is filthy. So we'll put the jet in the gas, and the shaker needle, sometimes if you bang gently on a piece of wood, sometimes that shaker needle will come out, but in our case it's not. So we are going to need the needle nose to reach in there and pull that shaker needle out. So we want to make sure that everything is intact on the shaker needle. Mainly we're looking at the tip to see if that little tip is intact, and in our case, from what I can see, everything looks okay. Now, just like this piece had two flat sides, the shaker needle also has two flat sides. So we want to use the flat end of our tool to scrape off any carbon that might be on the sides of this needle. If it's got a lot of carbon on it, it's not going to allow for fuel to pass. It's going to be clogged up. So we got that nice and clean. We're just going to shake these parts around a little bit in this gas, and we'll let them soak for a minute. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the fuel line back to this portion, and then I'm going to plug this with my finger, and I'm going to try to see if I can get fuel through, and that's an important step. I want to see if I can get fuel through. So holding my thumb over the end and aiming down at the glass, we're going to open this valve. And we got fuel coming through, so that's a good sign. We got fuel coming through. So that is really good. I'm actually very relieved that we have fuel coming through. Now, in the event that you do not have fuel coming through, there is a simple fix that I can show you that involves a standard paper clip. We'll take a standard paper clip and we'll straighten two little sections of it out. So you have something like this. And what you'll do is you'll run that paper clip down inside and you'll poke it. You'll poke it through, and if you look inside, you'll see the paper clip in there. See it? But you see that little paper clip inside where the jet goes. You can see the reflection of it. So you can use just a standard paper clip to make sure that that area is clear. So now we know that this area is clear. All these parts can go in the house or your shop sink and you can clean them. Be careful with these O-rings if you're going to be getting them around a lot of petroleum products. Okay, so but we don't need to do nothing to this. It's already cleaned enough. So the main concern at this point is the jet itself and the shaker needle. So we'll pull both of them out. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the shaker inside the jet and see if we can clear any material out of there. And it's looking like it's going through. If you look through the slot right here, I don't know if the camera is going to see that, but there's the needle. You can see the needle. It's very small, and we just want to make sure that the needle is going into that jet hole, and it does. It's probably hard to see because these parts are so small. So we'll just make sure that we get all the carbon out of there. It's not that hard of a job. So we're going to shake this stuff around, kind of swirl it around in there. Get those parts nice and clean. And then again, we'll grab these parts out of here. That needle is magnetic, as you can see. It's sticking to my tool there. So that's kind of cool. It's a magnetic needle. So we got those parts out of there. So now we'll start to reassemble. We're going to put the shaker needle inside of the jet. Everything looks good. We'll hold the burner upside down and we'll put the needle up into the burner with our finger just to kind of get it started into that slot. Then we'll flip it all over and tighten it down. These stoves are extremely easy to fix, and you can do all of this in the field with the tool provided. If you do not have needle nose with you, maybe you can find a soft piece of wood and use that to reach down and grab that needle, that shaker jet, if it gets stuck. So now we want to listen for that shaker. You can kind of hear it jumping around in there, and that's what we want. We want the shaker to jump around. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead and insert this back in. I'm not going to clean all this. You want to look for the side that says the logo, says Polaris on it. You want to look for that side right there that has the writing, and then you'll pop this through. If you don't use it on that side, it'll still come together, but it's not going to line up the way it should. So we're going to go here. Now this hole here is keyed. It's got round on 3/4 of it, and this top portion is flat. And that's why we needed to go the orientation that we did, the one with the logo. Because if you go on any of these other two holes, it's not going to line up with that key. So now we'll put this nut back on. We're almost done, folks. This is a very simple stove to fix. And I had it completely gummed up. We'll just tighten that down, make sure that this is in the spot that we need it. And then we'll just tighten it down with our tool. From here, we'll just drop the burner bell in there, and we can reconnect our fuel line right here. Oops, the burner bell fell out, but that's okay. We'll put that back in here in a second. The only reason I'm doing it this Mickey Mouse way is because I already have everything connected over there. So let's go ahead and take the burner bell, and we'll put that back on. This side that is connected to the burner bell, I usually put on the opposite side away from this shaft, but it really doesn't matter. So at this point, I'm going to put a couple drops of oil on these O-rings. Not a lot. And then I'll put this piece in and I'll start threading. I'll grab those threads, and then this little nut is also going to go threaded in. So I'm going to close everything, close this valve all the way down, and then I'll take again my tool right here and I'll just tighten that down. So this is pretty much done at this point. We're pretty much done with the job. Now we're going to make sure that this valve is completely open. I only opened it partially a second ago. I will use a little bit of Germ-X for a priming compound. Now I'll light that. And then from here, we'll introduce a little bit of fuel into the system. And then we'll turn it off and let that stuff prime. Let the stove get nice and hot. I'm already happy because I'm already seeing fuel and flames, and that's a good sign. That's a good sign that's telling me that my job was effective at cleaning this stove. So once these lower flames go down and they start to go out, I'll open this valve a little bit. We'll get the stove nice and primed. We're almost there. Now, if you got rubber gloves, you should probably wear them. This can be a dirty job, as you see. This stove was really, really dirty. Again, I did that intentional for this video. I wanted to give you guys something good to watch that was like worst case scenario. I mean, we started with the stove that was completely gummed up. So now, let's add a little bit more. We'll let it go. I'm going to come over here and give this thing a few more pumps. There we go. That way I got plenty of pressure. And you can see that things are working good. Now obviously if I had soap and water, I would have cleaned all those parts in soap and water and it would have made it really clean. But as you can see, we're back to pretty much peak performance. It's just a matter of getting it hot enough to get rid of those yellow tips. And that's just priming. That has nothing to do with the stove not wanting to operate. That's just priming at this point. So as you can see, this is not hard to fix these stoves. I have the Germ-X down there, the hand sanitizer, still doing its thing. Make sure this is tight. And what do you know, it looks like we have a stove that's fully operational once again. Ready to take out on another trip. We'll turn this valve off for a minute. We'll open this one up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this fuel canister now. Remember when we started the video, this one did nothing. So we're going to go ahead and disconnect. We'll set that aside. We'll close this valve. Get the lighter. And we'll connect this one. Remember, at the beginning of the video, this fuel canister did nothing. So now, let's go ahead and hold our lighter there. There we go. Look at that thing go. It works like a champ. See that far side hot support over here? Red hot. So that stove is performing absolutely fantastic. This cleaner probably going to make the flame die. Yep. But that's to be expected. Sometimes if you get that problem, just put a little right there in the middle. Tiny bit. Light that and it'll light the stove real easy. You don't have to sit there and hold the lighter the whole time. Is absolutely fantastic. Stove is performing very well. Well folks, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video of cleaning the Optimus Polaris. It's a very, very easy stove to clean. It doesn't take much time. And the cool thing about it is this tool does everything you need. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave your comments down below. Like this video, share this video. And until next time, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.